It started with a knock. Well, more like a pounding. And from the moment I heard it, I knew this wasn't going to be one of those, "Hey neighbor, can I borrow some sugar?" kind of days. No, this was a brace yourself kind of knock. The kind that lets you know someone on the other side thinks they're more important than they really are. I was halfway through a cup of coffee, sitting in my flannel pajamas, watching my dog Bruno stretch out on the living room floor. Bruno's 90 kilos of muscle, jaw, and unfiltered loyalty. You'd think that'd be enough to keep most people on their best behavior. But then again, you've never met the HOA imposters in my neighborhood. See, I live just outside a small town called Crescent Hollow. Quiet place. Retirees, young couples, the odd conspiracy theorist or two. And in that quietness, a little group of bored suburban vigilantes decided they were going to play God. Called themselves the Home Harmony Council. But everyone knew they were just a bunch of overzealous retirees who watched too many courtroom dramas and had too much free time. The thing is, my house. It ain't part of their HOA. Bought it years before the council ever existed. I got my own land deed, my own rules. But that never stopped him from trying to rope me in. Letters in the mail, warnings taped to my door. Even one time some guy tried to measure my lawn with a ruler. A ruler. I told them to back off, politely the first few times. Then less politely. So when I opened the door that morning just a crack, enough to see who was out there, it was déjà vu. 3 middle-aged men in khakis. Matching vests with some off-brand security patch that probably came from eBay. One of them, the guy in the middle, gave me this smug little nod like he expected me to salute. "Mr. Wilkins?" He said like he was reading it off a script. "We need to discuss your fence. It's out of compliance with community guidelines." I sighed. Deeply. "I'm not in your HOA," I replied. Same way I'd done a dozen times before. My fence. My property. My rules. But this time, the smug one stepped forward a little. Tilted his head like I was a disobedient child. "Either you comply, or we escalate. We're authorized." I raised an eyebrow. "Authorized to do what? Send me another letter I'll use to start my fireplace?" He didn't laugh. Instead, he said, "We'll take action ourselves." Then they just stood there, like bouncers outside a nightclub they didn't own. Something felt off. They weren't bluffing this time. There was a kind of confidence in the way they squared their shoulders. A confidence people don't usually get unless they're too stupid or too desperate. So I closed the door, locked it, turned around, and saw Bruno already on high alert. His ears were flat, tail stiff, muscles twitching under that sleek coat of his. He wasn't barking yet, but he was close. I took one step toward the kitchen. Then the door exploded. I mean it. Wood cracked. The lock splintered like a toothpick. And those 3 jackasses burst through like they were DEA agents raiding a meth lab. I didn't even have time to think. But Bruno did. Everything happened in about 2 seconds flat. First guy, the leader, got flattened. One moment he was full of authority. The next he was on his back staring up at a sky he probably thought was his last view on Earth. Second guy froze like a statue. Probably hoping if he didn't move, Bruno wouldn't see him. Mistake. Bruno saw him, just didn't care. Third guy took off running. Smartest move he made all day. Except Bruno was already moving. He hit that guy mid-sprint, slammed him into the front yard so hard I swear I heard bones debate whether they wanted to stay intact. Guy let out a scream I'll probably hear in my nightmares. And I wasn't even the one who got tackled. I stepped out onto the porch, arms crossed. Just watching the scene unfold like it was the season finale of a show I didn't even know I subscribed to. "You were saying?" I asked deadpan. Smug guy, well, former smug guy, was crawling away from the house, pants darker than they were when he arrived. "Call him off." "Call him off," he shrieked. I leaned on the doorframe. "Oh, now you want to negotiate?" Second guy finally snapped out of his trance and just ran. Didn't say a word. Didn't look back. Just sprinted down the street like he'd been ejected from reality. Meanwhile, Bruno had the third guy pinned, teeth inches from his face, growling low and deep. I let him marinate there for a moment. then gave a low whistle. Bruno backed off slow, deliberate, the kind of slow that says, "I'll remember your scent." The guy on the ground didn't move. Didn't even breathe, I think. Smug guy, now standing and shaking, pointed at me with a trembling finger. "You'll regret this." I smirked. "Doesn't look like I'm the one regretting anything, champ." And they ran. All of them. No dignity. No shoes in one case. Just scattered like roaches under a floodlight. I figured that was it. HOA clowns defeated. Bruno got his cardio. They saved. Then, another knock. This one was different. No arrogance. No pounding. Just a calm, official knock. I opened the door, and there he was. Real cop this time. Badge. Uniform. Expression of a man who's seen way too much dumb in his career. "Mr. Wilkins," he said. "Mind if we talk?" I stepped aside. "Come on in." Bruno lifted his head, watching silently. Didn't growl. Didn't move. Just stared. The officer, smart guy, didn't flinch. Just nodded and gave him space. "We got a report that you assaulted 3 HOA security officers," the cop said. I blinked. Then I laughed. Not a little laugh. A full-blown, wheezing, tears in my eyes kind of laugh. When I finally got it together, I wiped my eyes and said, "You mean the ones who kicked in my door?" He stayed neutral. "That's what they said." "Well," I said, "I didn't set my dog on them." Bruno just reacted to a home invasion like any good dog would. Right on cue, Bruno yawned. Deep and long. Still somehow threatening. The officer glanced at him. Then back at me. "You got security footage?" "Oh, buddy," I said, pulling out my phone. "I got 4K, night vision, motion tracking, slow motion. Hell, I could make you a movie trailer." I handed him my phone. He watched. And when it was done, he just let out a low whistle. That's going to be a problem for them. 2 days later, I'm enjoying a quiet morning. Bruno's snoozing beside me when the phone rings. Unknown number. "Mr. Wilkins," the voice says. "This is Officer Lewis. Just thought you'd like to know, we're pressing charges on those 3 guys. Breaking and entering." I nearly spit out my coffee. "Oh, I like that," I said. "And get this," he continued, clearly amused. "One of them's trying to sue you for emotional distress." There was silence, then laughter so loud even Bruno lifted his head like, "You good, man?" "Let me get this straight," I said through the laughter. "He kicked in my door, got tackled by my dog. And now he's crying about his trauma." "Yep," Officer Lewis said. "Claims your dog's a lethal weapon." I chuckled. If Bruno was a lethal weapon, that man wouldn't be calling a lawyer. He'd be calling a mortician. Lewis laughed too. "See you in court?" "Oh yeah," I said. "And tell him to bring clean khakis this time." I hung up, leaned back. "I want to hear your wildest neighborhood horror stories. Let's see who wins the HOA Nightmare Olympics."